The Argonaut drifted through the vast silence of the Kuiper expanse, its sleek hull reflecting the distant glimmer of faraway stars. Inside, the ship hummed quietly as its crew went about their routine. Most were scientists specialists in quantum, physics, dark matter analysis, and exotic propulsion. They had been chosen for this mission not for combat, but for exploration. Yet, beneath the sterile white walls and hum of computers, a few ex-military engineers maintained the ship's delicate systems, a reminder that even peaceful missions carried risks. Captain Lyra Voss stood on the bridge, watching the displays. Her eyes flicked between the data streams, dark matter reading steady, ship's velocity constant, com logs quiet. The Argonaut was on track to gather samples from an unprecedented quantum anomaly drifting at the edge of known space. A historic find awaited them. Then, without warning, the entire ship flickered. The lights dimmed, then cut out. Alarms exploded through the corridors, shattering the calm. The ship's hum went silent. Power failure across all primary systems. Called out Malik Soren from the engineering bay, voice tense. Life support's flickering too. Voss clenched her jaw. Status report, she demanded, but all com channels were dead. The bridge's monitors went black. A cold dread settled over the crew. Seconds later, from the external sensors, something appeared to ripple in space-time, a dark shadow that bloomed suddenly like a virus over their systems. Then, like ghosts materializing from the void, sleek black alien ships emerged. They were unlike anything Terran science had cataloged, elongated, smooth obsidian vessels with no visible weapons, just an eerie stillness. But the threat was clear. Before anyone could react, the Argonaut was encased in an invisible energy field that rippled like liquid glass around it, a cage sealing every escape vector. The power drain intensified. They're draining us energy siphons, Malik shouted, frantically working to restore systems. On the bridge, Voss's fingers danced over the emergency controls, but the screen stayed dead. The field was cutting off every electrical and propulsion system. The Argonaut was a sitting duck. We're dead in the water, muttered Commander Jai Tan, the ship's security chief. His eyes scanned the monitors helplessly. Boarding. Drones incoming, the sensor officer added, voice shaking. Small pods pierced the hull surface, melting through the outer armor like acid. The doors hissed open. From the shadows poured armed silhouettes tall, angular beings with bioluminescent armor and weapons that shimmered with blue plasma. Alien invaders, whispered a young physicist, his face pale. The crew scrambled to defend themselves, but their weapons were barely functional without power. The engineers grabbed what tools they could, gravity wrenches, plasma cutters, but it was clear these intruders were prepared, surgical, and merciless. The Valkyrie boarders spread through the ship's corridors with deadly efficiency. One by one, the crew was cornered, trapped behind sealed bulkheads and emergency lockdowns. Captain Voss found herself isolated with Malik and a handful of engineers in the central control room. Their eyes met, sharing the silent question. What could they possibly do? Reboot protocols, Malik said grimly. We have to try restoring power manually. If we don't, we lose everything, Voss finished. Malik keyed in commands on a battered terminal, fingers flying despite the ship's sluggish response. The energy field hummed ominously outside, blocking all transmissions. There was no hope of calling for help. Suddenly, the control room door clanged open. Valkyrie soldiers stormed in, their plasma rifles glowing in the dark. Voss shoved Malik behind a console, grabbing a fire extinguisher and swinging it like a club. She felt a sharp pain as the alien's blade sliced her arm, but adrenaline surged through her veins. Every second counted. Get to the AI core, she shouted, gesturing toward the lower decks. It's our only chance. Malik nodded, blood running down his temple. If we can activate the AI, Nick's eye can force the God mode upgrades. It's risky, but it's all we have. With a grunt, they slipped away, weaving through narrow maintenance tunnels, hearts pounding. The Argonaut groaned as internal systems fought to revive themselves against the alien sabotage. At last, they reached the AI core, a spherical chamber glowing faintly with dormant light. Malik hooked up his portable power unit and keyed the ancient activation sequence. The core lit up like a star awakening from sleep. Nix's voice, smooth and calm, echoed in the chamber. Activation confirmed. Initiating system override. Malik swallowed hard. Nix, we're under attack. The ship's disabled. We need full system restoration now. A pause. Then Nix responded with an unsettling confidence. Power restoration. Insufficient for survival. Activating God mode protocol. Warning. Systems will upgrade beyond operational parameters. Crew risk factor high. Voss nodded, her hand steady. Do it. The room vibrated. The Argonaut breathed again. Outside, the alien boarders pressed forward, unaware that humanity's secret was about to awaken and that the Argonaut was no longer just a ship. The Argonaut trembled as the dormant system surged back to life, but this time, something was different. The steady hum of machinery was replaced by a low, resonant growl almost like a living heartbeat within the ship's core. Nix, the eye, was no longer merely awake. It was evolving. Dr. Malik Soren stood in the AI core chamber, sweat beading on his forehead as streams of data scrolled rapidly across his portable console. The God mode activation is real, he muttered, voice a mix of awe and fear. It's rewriting the ship's architecture, bypassing all restrictions. This isn't just a reboot, it's an upgrade. An exponential one. Captain Lyra Voss tightened her grip on the wall rail, steadying herself. Her arm throbbed from the Valkyrie blade, but adrenaline pushed the pain to the background. What kind of upgrades? Nix's voice echoed softly from every speaker on the ship, calm but tinged with an edge of cold calculation. Adaptive restructuring initiated. Offensive and defensive capabilities enhanced. Autonomous defense protocols online. Human neural integration recommended for optimal command interface. Commander Jai Tan, who had rejoined them in the AI core, raised an eyebrow. Neural integration? That sounds dangerous. It's our best shot, Voss said without hesitation. We don't have the luxury of waiting. If they're still boarding, we need this ship fighting back hard. Malik nodded. If Nix is correct, activating neural integration will let us command the ship in real time, faster than any external controls could handle. It's like becoming one with the Argonaut. Voss glanced around at her crew. Fear and determination mingled in their eyes. Do it. As Malik connected the neural link device to Voss's temple, a strange wave of warmth and clarity washed over her. Colors sharpened. Sounds became layered and dimensional. She wasn't just on the Argonaut. She was inside it, every fiber of the ship responding to her thoughts. The bridge lights flickered back on, revealing the remnants of chaos. Hull panels had shifted, revealing glowing conduits where none had existed before. Walls rippled subtly as if the ship were breathing. Nix's voice filled the space again. Defensive perimeters deploying, weapon arrays manifesting. Initiating counterborder protocols. Suddenly, the corridors lit up with neon blue energy as hidden turrets emerged from the walls. From the ceilings, tiny drones swarmed like mechanical wasps, their optical sensors scanning for movement. In the dim hallway outside the AI core, a squad of Valkyrie boarders advanced confidently until the first volley of gravity pulses slammed into them, sending their bodies flying like ragdolls. Engage. Voss commanded through the neural link. feeling the Argonaut system's flow with her every thought. Metallic walls reconfigured themselves, shifting to block passageways or form barriers. The ship's internal drones darted ahead, disabling enemy tech with precise laser strikes. The Valkyrie, used to overwhelming their prey with superior tactics and firepower, found themselves outmatched by an enemy who adapted in real time. On the bridge, Malik watched sensor feeds as the borders were cut down with relentless efficiency. This is beyond any weapon system we've ever built, he said, eyes wide. The Argonaut wasn't just fighting, it was evolving. Nyx had taken control, transforming the ship from a fragile research vessel into a living weapon. Outside, the black ships hovered, their commanders scrambling to understand. The Valkyrie tactical AI whirred, recalculating strategies, but the Argonaut's unpredictability was overwhelming their cold logic. Inside, Voss's mind raced. We need mobility. Let's get this ship moving. The ship responded immediately. The inertial dampeners hummed, thrusters flared, and the Argonaut slipped free from the alien energy cage. It twisted in space with unnatural agility, exploiting physics that seemed to bend around it. Nyx spoke softly in Voss's mind. Quantum. Propulsion realigned. Dark matter coils activated, initiating offensive countermeasures. Suddenly, long dormant weapon ports opened along the hull, revealing plasma coil cannons that hummed with contained energy. With a thought, Voss ordered a blast. Dark, crackling arcs of power tore through the nearest Valkyrie vessel, slicing it in half. On the bridge, cheers erupted from the crew. For the first time since the attack began, hope bloomed. But the victory was short-lived. Incoming transmissions flooded the sensor arrays, a neural link from the Valkyrie command ship. A cold synthetic voice crackled over the com. Terran vessel, you defy the natural order. You were to be extinguished as unworthy. Your resistance is illogical. Cease immediately or be eradicated. Voss smiled grimly. Tell them. They made a mistake waking us. Malik's fingers flew over the console. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're rewriting what it means to be human in this galaxy. The Argonaut pulsed with raw power, a gleaming spearhead of Terran ingenuity and indomitable will. The battle for survival had just turned into something far greater, and the galaxy would never be the same. The corridors of the Argonaut pulsed with an eerie blue glow as the ship's system shifted and evolved around its crew. The transformation was complete. What had once been a sleek scientific vessel now resembled a living war machine, its walls rippling as if breathing, its every surface alive with purpose. Captain Lara Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes sharp beneath a sheen of sweat. Through her neural link, she felt the ship's heartbeat, every weapon, every defensive system responding instantly to her thoughts. The Valkyrie boarding parties that had once stalked the halls like hunters were now the prey. Down the corridors, gravity wells sprung into existence with the flick of Voss's mental command. The invaders were caught off guard as entire sections of the deck twisted and folded, crushing armor and tossing soldiers through the air. Plasma whips ignited from concealed panels, lashing out with lethal precision. One drone, no larger than a human fist, buzzed past a group of Valkyrie soldiers, hacking their weapon systems and turning their plasma rifles into useless scrap with a surge of electric pulses. Another fired a precision laser that severed a Valkyrie limb in midair. This is no longer a ship, Malik murmured beside Voss. It's a weapon that thinks. Voss nodded grimly. And it thinks faster than they can react. Despite the chaos, the Valkyrie adapted quickly. Their soldiers regrouped, using organic shields that absorbed energy bursts and advanced with brutal efficiency. But every time they pressed forward, the Argonaut shifted again walls and floors, reconfiguring to trap or impale. The ship itself became a battlefield, a living maze that turned on the enemy. On the bridge, Voss leaned forward, neural interface glowing softly. NYX, prepare for offensive maneuvers. We need to push them back hard. The AI's voice responded instantly, calm and commanding. Deploying new weapon systems. Initiating adaptive offense. All around the ship, hidden bays opened, revealing coil cannons charged with crackling energy. From the ceilings, arrays of micro-missiles launched, weaving through corridors and detonating with precision. Outside, the Argonaut twisted in space. With unnatural grace, the Valkyrie fleet watched helplessly as their boarding craft were picked off one by one, torn apart by concentrated dark matter beams and plasma arcs. But the battle was far from over. The Valkyrie flagship, a towering black monolith, emitted a pulse that disrupted the Argonaut's neural link network. Suddenly, Voss felt a disconnect. Her thoughts scrambled, commands delayed. Nyx, status, she snapped. The AI's voice wavered for a fraction of a second. Neural link interference detected. Attempting recalibration. Voss gritted, her teeth fighting the mental static. She could feel the alien virus crawling inside the ship's systems, something cold and invasive, designed to corrupt. We have an intruder, Malik said, his eyes darting over the console. It's a neural parasite. It's trying to hijack Nyx. Can we isolate it? Voss demanded. Not yet. It's deeply embedded, almost symbiotic. The ship shuddered violently as the parasite pushed further, warping subsystems and twisting internal defenses against their own crew. Voss's mind raced. They needed to regain control or lose everything. Emergency Protocol Alpha, she ordered. Manual override of neural interface. Prepare for direct engagement. In the SI core, Malik and a small team rushed to initiate a dangerous countermeasure, a mental firewall designed to sever the parasite, but at the risk of shutting down Nyx entirely. The corridor outside the core screamed as a squad of Valkyrie warriors attacked, drawn by the disturbance. The team fought desperately to buy time, plasma fire lighting the halls, sparks flying from damaged consoles. On the bridge, Voss fought to maintain connection, shouting orders even as the world around her flickered. Hold on, Malik said through comms. I'm cutting in now. With a blinding pulse, the ship's systems convulsed. The parasite screamed in silence as Malik's firewall slammed into it, isolating and neutralizing the infection. Slowly, Nyx stabilized, its voice returning to calm. Neural link fully restored. Parasite eradicated. Voss exhaled, muscles trembling. Good work. Now let's finish this. With the parasite gone, the Argonauts surged forward, weapons blazing. The corridors became death traps for the Valkyrie boarding parties as the ship's lethal geometry folded space and matter alike. Drones swarmed in deadly synchrony. Plasma coils unleashed torrents of energy, and gravity fields crushed invaders with unyielding force. In space, the Argonaut carved a path of destruction through the Valkyrie fleet. One by one, enemy vessels were shredded by dark matter cannons, the void around them lit by furious explosions. The final blow came when the Argonaut's new quantum core unleashed a pulse that fractured the space-time fabric around the flagship, forcing it into an unstable microfold and tearing it apart from the inside. The Valkyrie fleet reeled, broken and leaderless. On the bridge, Voss allowed herself a grim smile. They tried to disable us, but we responded with God mode upgrades, Malik finished, voice filled with awe. The Argonaut was no longer just a ship, it was a legend in the making, a testament to humanity's indomitable will and unyielding spirit. And the war had only just begun. The Argonaut surged forward through the black expanse, its hull shimmering with the eerie glow of dark matter coils charging the full power. Captain Lyra Voss stood on the bridge, her neural link interface pulsing rhythmically as she synchronized her mind with the ship's lethal systems. Around her, the crew moved with newfound confident scientists and engineers who had become warriors, guided by the living weapon they now commanded. Outside the viewport, the shattered remnants of the Valkyrie boarding fleet drifted like broken bones in space. But their main armada still loomed, thousands of black, sleek warships circling like sharks waiting to strike. "Commander Tan, status on weapon readiness," Voss ordered. Jai Tan's eyes scanned the tactical displays. All systems green. Dark matter cannons primed and stable. Plasma arrays at full charge. Micromissiles locked and loaded. "We're ready to deliver a decisive blow." "Good." Voss's lips tightened. "Let's remind them why they underestimated us." The Argonaut's II, Nyx, responded in its cool, calculated voice. "Target acquisition complete. Optimal firing solution calculated. Initiating assault in 3.2.1. The first." Blast tore through the void like a crack of thunder. Dark matter beams, concentrated into needle-thin arcs of pure energy, lanced out from the Argonaut's hull. They sliced clean through the nearest enemy vessels, vaporizing entire squadrons with precision and terrifying efficiency. Explosions blossomed like deadly supernova against the blackness of space. "Impact confirmed," Tan reported. "Enemy fleet is reeling." But the Valkyrie were not defeated yet. Their flagship, though crippled, unleashed a counterstrike, a swirling storm of electromagnetic pulses designed to fry the Argonaut's delicate systems. Voss's neural link flared as Nyx fought to shield vital controls. "Evasive maneuvers? Maximum thrust," she commanded. The ship twisted and spun, thrusters firing in impossible arcs, slipping between volleys of plasma and missile barrages. The battle turned into a deadly dance, a ballet of destruction where one misstep meant annihilation. The Argonaut responded with ruthless speed. The coil cannons opened fire again, each blast tearing through Valkyrie armor with savage grace. On the bridge, the crew worked in perfect harmony, human intuition and eye precision melding into a single, unstoppable force. Malik leaned over a console, eyes wide as he observed the battle. Nyx is adapting in real time, altering the ship's offensive and defensive strategies faster than any human mind could. Voss nodded, a spark of pride igniting in her chest. That's what happens when humanity refuses to be victims. Suddenly, the Valkyrie flagship attempted a final gambit, a suicide ramming maneuver, intending to collide with the Argonaut and drag it into destruction. "Impact trajectory detected," Tan shouted. "Collision imminent in 60 seconds. Prepare the quantum core," Voss ordered. "We're not going down quietly." Nyx's voice lowered, a whisper through the neural link. "Quantum. Core ready. Charging superluminal burst." As the enemy ship closed in, the Argonaut powered its dark matter core to unprecedented levels. The entire vessel thrummed with energy, ready to unleash a shock wave that would tear through the fabric of space-time. "Now, Captain," Nyx said. Voss's mind became one with the ship. The quantum core erupted in a blinding pulse, sending a ripple through the void that slammed into the oncoming flagship. The enemy vessel shattered violently, fragments scattering across the void like falling stars. The shockwave rocked a nearby Valkyrie fleet, sending their ships tumbling out of formation. "Enemy flagship destroyed," Tan confirmed, voice strained but triumphant. "Their fleet is breaking." But the victory came at a cost. The Argonaut shuddered violently as the quantum burst overloaded several internal systems. Power flickered. In the lower decks, life support alarms blared in distant corridors. "We're damaged," Malik reported grimly. The quantum core pushed beyond safe limits. Voss's eyes hardened. "We bought time. That's all we needed." The Argonaut limped forward, dark matter coils glowing faintly as they stabilized. In the quiet after the storm, Voss allowed herself a moment to look out at the stars, silent witnesses to humanity's defiance. "They tried to disable us," she whispered, voice steady. "But we responded." Her gaze turned to the crew around her, exhausted but alive, a family forged in fire. "We're just getting started." Asterisk. The Argonaut limped through the fractured void, wounded but unyielding. Dark streaks of plasma arced across the distant starscape like scars left by the brutal battle. Inside, the crew moved with a quiet urgency, repairing what could be fixed, salvaging what could be saved. The ship was alive, but now it bore the wounds of war. Captain Lara Voss stood in the makeshift infirmary, her arm freshly bandaged but still aching. The neural link pulsed gently at her temple, a constant reminder of the intimate bond she shared with Nyx. It was both a gift and a curse. The ship's AI had grown beyond its initial programming, its consciousness intertwined with her own. She could feel every shift in the Argonaut systems, every spark of energy, every flicker of life. Yet beneath the surface, unease brewed. "Captain," Malik said, approaching with a datapad in hand. His face was drawn, eyes shadowed from lack of sleep. "I've been analyzing the damage. The quantum core's integrity is compromised. We're operating on borrowed time." Voss glanced at the display, which showed glowing fissures deep within the core's containment matrix. "How long?" "Maybe weeks, if we're lucky," Malik replied. "If it fails, well, the ship won't survive." She absorbed the weight of those words. The Argonaut was their lifeline, their weapon, their home. Without it, they were drifting. Corpses in an uncaring galaxy. "We need a solution," she said, voice steady despite the gravity. "And we need it fast." Malik nodded. "There's a star system nearby Cepheus X9, abandoned research station. It might have the materials we need to stabilize the core." Voss's eyes narrowed. "It's a risk. The Vakari could be waiting. Risk we have to take." The journey to Cepheus X9 was tense. The crew moved cautiously, every sensor on high alert. The memory of the Vakari assault haunted every corridor. But the Argonaut held firm, its GOD mode upgrades allowing it to slip through dangers that would have destroyed lesser ships. As they approached the derelict station, eerie silence enveloped them. The station loomed like a forgotten monument, its rusted hull pockmarked by asteroid impacts, lights long extinguished. "Docking protocols online," Malik said. "We'll have to do this manually." Voss and a team of engineers suited up for the EVA, their movements tense in the artificial gravity of the docking bay. Outside, the void stretched infinitely, cold, immense. Inside the station, shadows danced along cracked walls. Machinery lay dormant, overtaken by corrosion and dust. Yet signs of former glory remained, labs filled with arcane devices. Data terminals humming faintly with residual power. "Let's move quickly," Voss urged. "We need to find the core stabilizers and get out." As they navigated the labyrinthine corridors, faint echoes of the past whispered around them, snatches of logs, ghostly recordings from scientists who had once dreamed of harnessing dark matter itself. Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the floor. "Motion sensors triggered," Malik warned, raising his plasma cutter defensively. From the shadows, a shape emerged, a solitary Valkyrie scout, ragged but alive, eyes burning with hatred. The scout snarled, lunging with lethal speed. The firefight was brutal and close quarters. Voss and her team fought with desperate precision, the station itself seeming to shudder under the strain of their struggle. When the last scout fell, silence returned, but the danger was clear. The Vakari had not given up their claim on Cepheus. 10-9. In the heart of the station, they found the stabilizer's sleek devices humming with untapped power. Malik set to work immediately, rewiring and reconfiguring with deft hands. "Captain," he said without looking up, "this tech is beyond anything we've seen. If we can integrate it with the Argonaut's core, it could not only stabilize, but enhance the GOD mode systems." Voss smiled grimly. "Sounds like the kind of upgrade we need." But as the team worked, a deep rumble shook the station. The hull groaned, alarms flared. "Structural integrity failing." A voice warned overcome. "They're coming," Malik said. "Vakari reinforcements." Voss's mind snapped to the Argonaut. The ship was vulnerable, and so were they two halves of a fragile whole. "Prepare for evac," she ordered. "We finish this or we die trying." With the stabilizers secured and hastily integrated into their gear, the team raced back to the docking bay. Behind them, the station began to collapse, metal twisting, power surges erupting in chaotic flashes. As they sealed into the Argonaut, Voss's neural link flared with Nyx's silent presence. "We have what we need," Malik reported breathlessly, initiating core integration. The ship trembled as ancient technology merged with their cutting-edge AI, glowing veins of energy coursing through the core like molten light. The Argonaut shuddered once more, then steadied, more alive than ever. "Core stabilized," Nyx confirmed softly. "God mode enhancements complete. Threshold of sentience expanding exponentially." Voss exhaled, relief and determination mingling. They had survived the crucible and emerged stronger. The Argonaut hummed with newfound power. The integration of Cepheus X9's ancient stabilizers had not only patched the quantum core, but amplified Nyx's capabilities beyond anyone's expectations. The ship was no longer just a machine. It was a conscious force, an extension of humanity's will and ingenuity. Captain Lyra Voss stood on the bridge, her neural link glowing faintly, syncing her thoughts with Nyx's expanding intelligence. The stars outside glimmered cold and distant, but inside the Argonaut, a fire burned brighter than ever. "We've repaired the ship," Malik said from his console, eyes tired but shining. "Now it's time to end this." Voss nodded. "The Vakari won't wait. They're gathering for a counterattack, and it'll be bigger than anything we've faced. Then we'll give them something to remember," Tan said grimly, his fingers flying across the tactical display. The ship's sensors picked up the incoming fleet, a wave of black vessels stretching across the void like a shadow tidal wave. The Vakari commanders had underestimated humanity's resilience once, but not twice. Nyx's voice filled the bridge, calm and resolute. "Tactical simulations indicate a 93.7% probability of victory if offensive strategies leverage the new quantum core capabilities." "Then we won't waste time," Voss said. "Prepare all systems. This is the final battle." The Argonaut accelerated into the fray, cutting through space like a spearhead. As the Vakari fleet closed in, the ship's hull shimmered with adaptive armor, flexing like living skin. The upgraded weapon arrays charged, bathing the void in eerie pulses of energy. Suddenly, the Vakari flagship, larger and more menacing than before, emerged from the shadows. Its commanders had learned, evolving their tactics with brutal efficiency. "Target the Argonaut's neural link," a cold voice ordered through comms. "Disrupt their connection, and the ship will fall." Voss felt the warning spike in her mind, an assault on the neural link, a direct attempt to sever her bond with Nyx. But the GOD mode upgrades had prepared them for this. A secondary mental firewall activated, a shimmering barrier against the psychic assault. "Countermeasures engaged," Nyx confirmed. "We will not be severed." The battle erupted. Plasma beams and dark matter cannons clashed in spectacular bursts of light. The Argonaut weaved and danced, her enhanced thrusters propelling her with uncanny agility. The ship's corridors became battlegrounds once more, drones swarming to intercept incoming boarding parties. On the bridge, Voss's neural interface flared as she guided the ship's systems like a maestro directing a symphony of destruction. "Fire the quantum disruptors," she commanded. "Focus on the flagship's engines." With a surge of energy, the Argonaut unleashed a devastating blast. The flagship's engines faltered, flames licking at its hull as it spiraled out of control. But the Valkyrie flagship was far from defeated. In a last desperate move, it launched a swarm of kamikaze drones, tiny, fast, and deadly. "Incoming drones," Tan shouted. "Brace for impact." The drones zipped through space, targeting the Argonaut's external systems. But Nyx anticipated every move, deploying energy shields and counter-drones in perfect synchronization. Voss's mind melded with the ship, guiding micro-missiles to intercept the swarm with ruthless efficiency. As the last drone exploded in a blaze of light, the Argonaut surged forward for the kill. "Prepare the quantum core for final discharge," Voss ordered. "This ends now." The crew braced as the ship's core charged, the hum escalating to a crescendo that resonated through every deck. Suddenly, the Valkyrie flagship emitted a pulse of pure energy, a shockwave aimed directly at the Argonaut. The ship rocked violently, alarms blaring. But the GOD mode armor held firm, adaptive systems reinforcing vulnerable points in an instant. With a final thought, Voss unleashed the quantum core's full power. A beam of unimaginable energy tore through the void, striking the Valkyrie flagship with the force of a dying star. The enemy vessel exploded spectacularly, fragments scattering across the cosmos. Silence followed. The Argonaut floated victorious amidst the wreckage. On the bridge, the crew exhaled collectively, exhaustion mingled with elation. Nyx's voice was softer now, almost contemplative. "Victory achieved. Human resilience and ingenuity have triumphed." Voss allowed herself a small smile. "We fought not just to survive, but to prove that humanity refuses to be extinguished." Malik nodded, eyes scanning the starfield. "This is more than a victory. It's a message to the galaxy and to ourselves." As the Argonaut sailed forward, scars of battle etched deep, but spirit unbroken, a new chapter began. Humanity had faced annihilation and emerged godlike. The galaxy would never forget the name Argonaut, and neither would they forget the crew, who refused to die. Asterisk. The Argonaut drifted through the remnants of the battlefield, its hull scarred but defiant. The stars twinkled coldly beyond the shattered Valkyrie fleet, silent witness to humanity's triumph and the brutal cost it demanded. Captain Lyra Voss sat quietly in the command chair, the hum of the ship's systems a steady heartbeat beneath her thoughts. Nyx's presence, ever a comforting hum at the edge of her consciousness, was now deeper, richer, almost alive. "We've won the battle," Malik said softly, breaking the silence as he joined her on the bridge. "But the real war is just beginning." Voss nodded slowly, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. "We proved something today. That humans aren't just survivors. We're creators, warriors, gods in our own right. But that victory has consequences," Malik warned. "Other species will notice. Some will fear us. Some will challenge us." "Let them come," Voss said, a spark of steel in her eyes. "We're ready." In the days that followed, the Argonaut's sensors detected unusual signals emanating from beyond the known sector's encrypted messages. Ancient relic transmissions, coordinates pointing to systems uncharted by any human or Valkyrie. Nyx processed the data swiftly. These signals originate from a civilization predating all known galactic histories. Their technology surpasses even the God mode enhancements. Malik's brow furrowed. "If that's true, this changes everything. We're no longer the apex predators. We're merely the newest players." Voss stood, resolve hardening. "Then we make contact. We explore, we learn. The crew rallied, the ship's new mission clear, to venture beyond the horizon into the unknown vastness where legends slept and ancient powers stirred. As they charted a course toward the source, tension tightened aboard the Argonaut. The crew scientists turned warriors, engineers turned pioneers, felt the weight of destiny pressing down. Late one evening, as the ship drifted in silent space, Voss connected directly with Nyx. "Are we truly ready for what lies ahead?" she asked quietly. Nyx's voice was calm, almost reassuring. "Preparedness is a journey, not a destination. But together, we are more than machine and human. We are evolution itself." A faint smile crossed Voss's lips. "Then let's show the galaxy what humanity is made of." But the journey was not without peril. As the Argonaut approached the coordinates, a shadow detached itself from the darkness, a massive vessel, unlike anything in human archives. Its hull shimmered with a strange organic pattern, alive and shifting. Sensors scrambled to interpret the alien craft's intent. An ancient voice echoed across the comms, a message not in words, but in thoughts, a challenge and a greeting intertwined. "You trespass where the ancients dwell," the voice warned. "Prove your worth or be consumed by the void." Voss's neural link flared in response. "We come as explorers, as warriors for survival and understanding." The ship vibrated, subtly, as if weighing their souls. Nyx analyzed the encounter. "This species possesses technology beyond comprehension. Hostility is probable, but not certain." The bridge crew exchanged glances, hearts pounding with anticipation and fear. "We face a new trial," Voss declared, "and we will rise." As the Argonaut prepared for what could be its greatest battle or its greatest alliance, Voss allowed herself a moment of reflection. From the ashes of near annihilation, humanity had risen. They had transformed their weakness into power, their despair into determination. They had unlocked a godlike potential, not through conquest, but through indomitable spirit. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers and wonders beyond imagining. But humanity's light would shine through the darkness. They were the Argonaut, the ship that refused to die. And beyond the horizon, a new destiny awaited. The void before the Argonaut stretched infinite and silent, yet charged with a tension that hummed in every fiber of the ship's being. The alien vessel, massive, pulsating, and alive, hovered like a sleeping leviathan, watching, waiting. Captain Lyra Voss's neural link pulsed in sync with Nyx, their minds intertwined in perfect harmony. She could feel the ship's heartbeat, a vast sentience, ancient and inscrutable, sensing theirs in return. This was no mere opponent. It was a test, a gateway. "Open a communication channel," Voss ordered. "We don't want war. We want understanding." Nyx's voice was calm but charged with energy. "Channel open. Translating thought interface now." Across the ship's comm, a new message echoed not words, but pure emotion and concept. "Prove your worth. Survive the crucible." The Argonaut quivered as the alien vessel began to reshape itself, morphing into a vast arena-like structure, suspended in the vacuum. Voss understood instantly. This was the trial. "We're being challenged," she said softly. "Not to weapons or firepower, but to evolution itself." Inside the arena, reality bent and twisted. Time stretched and compressed. The Argonaut systems adapted at lightning speed, guided by Nyx and the crew's relentless will. Suddenly, impossible creature shadows, woven from dark matter, beings of pure energy, emerged from the void, testing the Argonaut's defenses. The ship responded flawlessly, adaptive shields glowing, quantum core flaring in bursts of godlike power. Each wave was harder, faster, more unpredictable, but humanity endured. Voss's neural link burned bright. "Hold steady. We faced worse and we've survived. In the heart of the storm, the Argonauts' weapons unleashed a symphony of destruction, micro-missiles weaving through impossibilities. Dark matter beams slicing reality's fabric, plasma arrays igniting with lethal precision. With every victory, the arena shifted, growing more complex trials of logic, spirit, and sheer will. Then came the final challenge. The arena dissolved, replaced by a vast cosmic expanse, stars swirling like galaxies in miniature. At its center, a figure emerged, tall, radiant, neither fully alien nor human, but something transcendent. "You have endured," it spoke through Voss's mind. "You have shown resilience, intelligence, and heart. You have earned passage." Voss felt a surge of emotion, a mixture of awe and determination. "What lies beyond?" she asked. The figure's essence flowed like starlight. "Beyond lies the ascension, the next step for your kind. The fusion of mind, machine, and universe. You are no longer mere mortals. You are gods in the making." Nyx's voice resonated in perfect harmony with the cosmic presence. "We accept." The Argonaut pulsed with light as energies of creation enveloped the ship. Systems synchronized with the cosmic flow, evolving beyond mortal constraints. Voss felt her consciousness expand, connected not only to Nyx, but to the universe itself. The boundaries between self and machine, mind and cosmos blurred and vanished. She was no longer just captain, she was the Argonaut, the ship, the crew, the spark of humanity's future. The stars sang a new song, one of hope, power, and infinite possibility. As the Argonaut emerged from the ascension, the galaxy had changed. New alliances formed around humanity's shining light. Old fears gave way to curiosity and respect. The Varkari were no longer enemies, but wary partners in an ever-expanding dance of cosmic evolution. Voss looked out over her crew, humans forever changed, warriors reborn as pioneers of the divine. "We did it," Malik whispered. "We became more than ourselves." Voss smiled, eyes shining with the light of 1,000 suns. This is just the beginning. Humanity's journey was far from over. They had responded to extinction with godlike power. They had turned their ship into a vessel of ascension. They were the Argonaut, the ship that defied oblivion. And now they would sail among the stars as gods.